KALASK, since you didn't have a chance?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, KALASK. Hello. Greetings.
Greetings.
Or whatever. Obviously. Oh my God. That's fucking funny. Okay, so I guess one thing I can ask is what happens to the human body when the coronavirus enters it, and then what will it? Does it transmute, or does it go into something else, or what happens to the DNA and things like that?
Great question. The idea, first and foremost, we would not interact with such a virus in the same manner, so it would have a different effect on us, or we can only judge from what we're aware of what your human body is even like, considering how far you're currently in the vessel, so to speak, right? Now, this virus would likely infect your lungs. It would likely it creates something like a film, or it clogs, that's the right word. It clogs up your breathing system. First also your arteries, but first and foremost your breathing system. Therefore, it gets more difficult for certain individuals to breathe at all. Therefore, it could be possible to suffocate, right? Not necessarily, but it's possible. Obviously, also your antibodies will act up, so those create the dependence, they're able to fend off such a virus idea. It, of course, also weakens the immune system to its great degree. And remember, the same as your AIDS idea, is very, from what we're aware, pretty deadly on your blood if you're getting infected with such a manner. Obviously not as contagious, but more deadly. But the idea in both cases being, people that are usually dying of are not dying from the virus itself, but they're simply dying from something else that your body is no longer able to fend off because the immune system simply crumbles. So mostly it's your immune system that's going to shit, so to speak, and therefore, if you have something in your field that your immune system can usually handle, it will no longer be able to handle, and that's when likely whatever there is lingering will then have a massive effect, which of course can lead to death or massive destruction of your physical system, or if your immune system is strong, it would likely still be able to hold up, and if you have nothing in your system, then even having a weak immune system is not automatically going to have a massive effect on you.
Okay.
Simply.
Is there any benefit to the body?
Well, generally not necessarily, except of course your immune system gets a workout. Same benefit any other disease that your system can fend off. We're aware. You have something that you're considering and you're calling vaccination, right? Which is basically getting artificially infected. We're also aware many of your people have the idea, well, they're putting all kinds of chemicals in there, which indeed can be true. We don't necessarily see much of a problem with a vaccination than necessarily completely fucking you over or causing autism or whatever other ideas people on your planet have implemented. It's more an idea that simply artificially infects you, right? So therefore, it's somebody else outside of you who's creating your infection, and you no longer, you give the responsibility for your health to another person. We see that's the main problem with it. The same way, of course, in the other regards, you're giving your responsibility for your health to another individual. Therefore, you put yourself at the whim of another person. Of course, your entire collective is structured, and then you can't really trust any of your institutions because you have so much corruption. We might have a brutal dictatorship from your perceiving as such, but we have a certain trust level because we're aware we're working together as a collective, so we can trust our medics, for example, to much greater degree because we don't have this whole corrupting idea involved. Now, with that being said, we are suggesting your entire medical system is out to get you. It's more than near certain methods that you're implying is perfectly. So instead of getting a vaccination, you could get corona, so to speak. And then you could be vaccinated, so to speak, for another interaction with something more destructive, created, of course, collectively, for example, a war. And once you have lived out this whole scenario of what a certain pandemic looks like, you collectively are somewhat vaccinated, so to speak, or individual, of course, if you would catch the virus, then you could, of course, if you survive it, easily be able to withstand another greater cataclysm of such a manner that could influence your health because your body has simply got the workout, right? The same matter you could ask, well, what's the benefit of having to constantly lift and carry heavy boxes up to my house, right? It's so annoying, but what's the benefit? Well, you would work out your muscles, so to speak, and if you would need them for another direction later on in what you would call timing, you would have to have a workout. But the great idea to look at this current cataclysm from this vantage point of what's the benefit. Because once you understand the real benefit, as we shared collectively speaking, you are getting the lid off, and therefore, whether a cataclysm, war, scenario might happen in what you consider in future, you now have a blueprint of how your society locally acts in such a scenario of a major catastrophic event, or we wouldn't consider it as a catastrophic event, it's just a try run, so to speak. And of course, individually, you can make up your idea, well, what's really to be taken into consideration. That's, of course, talking about collective consciousness and your outside world, your physical body, your genetics, right? That's also simply where your body can get a workout and your whole system, your cells can get physically in touch with what it's like to have such infectious ideas and how best to relate to it. Of course, you could also say, well, this creates genetic change, so therefore in the future, our future body or those of people that have implemented this genetic change are then more able to deal with this or that situation, etc. But it's also creating up to your interpretation what you make of it as usual. Right?
Yes. Thank you. That was a great explanation. And it kind of reminds me of like there's some people who are afraid to go out into nature and do things because they're afraid of getting germs or touching other people, afraid of getting germs. But those things that are around us help our immune system to be able to be here and be stronger.
Yes, from your perceiving, you're all germophobes right now. Now, the idea being, as one of your teachers, the Paracelsus person, suggested, the idea being, you're philosophers or medics, or there is no such thing as poison or medicine. The only thing that makes something poisonous or medical is simply the quantity, not the quality, right? So if you take a very small amount of what your people call poison, it can easily be strengthening. And if you drink about perhaps 20 or more liters of water, it's obviously going to be very poisonous, even if it's very healthy and pristine spring water, right? It also depends what amount of something you're ingesting and how your body is then learning to interact with. Or, of course, as the vessel is perhaps very likely aware of, when you don't eat anything for a longer period of time, then any food can be very unpleasant and unhealthy when you're overdoing it. Or, of course, if you're stuffing your face constantly, then obviously not eating for a while could suddenly make you feel like you're starving, even though you're simply getting back to a more natural health.
Yes, exactly. I appreciate everything that you said. And yes, benefit. Let's go with that. And thank you, Kalask, as usual.
Very welcome. Great question. Thanks for the direction to lead a person, of course, much helps.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I think this was the end of our queue for KALASK. I just want to say I am very happy to be here and help moderate. And thank you very much for the session today. And if you could please bring in Maytax, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Good job. Yes, we're correct. You can catch now what strengths, honor, cataclysm, and strives trying a learning lesson eventually coming through to your collective.
To you as well.